Hi, everybody. Welcome. I am so excited to have you here. I am Aleeza Ben Shalom, and tonight we're going to be talking all about the history of soulmates and how to identify yours. And tonight's webinar is sponsored by JWed. If you don't know about JWed, you should check them out. If you do know about JWed, what I want to tell you is when you download their app on your phone, you are going to see that there is a new feature where you can not just chat with somebody, but you can video chat with somebody. You can actually get to know them without giving them your phone number, without giving them your Zoom. All you have to do is actually chat in the app itself. So if you don't have JWed yet, just download JWed. Check it out. It's pretty fantastic. Okay, thank you so much, JWed. We are so excited to partner with you. I am Aleeza Ben Shalom. I am known as the marriage-minded mentor, and I have a team of mentors that work with singles to help get them over their hurdles and under the chuppah. And we love what we do. I know you don't love dating, and I know you don't love the dating process, but we are here to make the whole thing a little bit better, a little bit more tolerable, a little bit easier for you. And so if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have questions, and like, Aleeza, you didn't address it in this webinar, no problem. Just sign up. You can get a free intro call with me or anybody from my team. We would love to work with you and help you through your dating hurdles. Okay, so let's dig in. I have my notes here. So first thing that I want to tell you when we're talking about soulmates, first of all, this is a super heavy topic, okay? We're talking about soulmates, like this human being that you believe isn't just another human being that's just a good human being that's there for you, but that's there to match your soul. So then it brings up all these questions. Well, what is a soul? What is a soulmate? Do they really exist? There's like 986 questions that we could be asking. So what I want you to know is, this is a heavy topic. This is a deep topic. There's a lot of stuff that is unknown or known, but it's not like we can prove it. Like, can we prove God's existence to you? Well, we could show you evidence of his existence, but there's going to be people that are still going to be like, oh yeah, but I don't believe it, but I don't believe it. So it's not like I could show you this wall and be like, it's yellow. Like, this is just what it is, you know? Some people might look at it and think it's, you know, orange or green, or if you're colorblind, you might not recognize certain colors, right? So this is a really difficult and deep concept. And if you have further questions after this webinar, you might want to consider talking to somebody, a mentor or a rabbinical guide, or somebody that you trust that has a deep understanding of this, because this is really the deepest of the deep. Okay, second thing I want you to know is what I say might not be what you hear or what you understand. They might be two different things. So if you have a question and we're going through this right now and you're like, wait, Aleeza, question, just put it in the Q&A box, because we would love to hear what the questions are. I will do my best to answer them. I'm gonna tell you everything that I know. And if there's something that comes up and I'm thinking that's a great question, I don't know, or I don't want to give you an answer that I don't think is the best answer, then I'm gonna tell you that. I'm gonna be really straightforward and honest with you. Okay, the reason I am saying all of this is because this is such a complex topic, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how come we actually said we were going to try to tackle this? This is huge. Okay, deep breath in and out. Here we go. Ready? First thing that I know about soulmates, a heavenly voice called out 40 days before you were born, so-and-so is for so-and-so. Okay, before you came into this world, before you became a body into this world, your soul was in this heavenly sphere, and your soul came to enter this world. And before it came in, there was this this understanding of who would be for you. Now this gets a little bit tricky, because then the question becomes, well, how many soulmates are there? Hang tight, stick with me, we're gonna get there, okay? 40 days before you're born, a heavenly voice calls out, so-and-so is for so-and-so. Great, that's something that's known. In the blueprint of the world are soulmates. The world was designed in a way that soulmates exist within the world. So it's not, are they here, aren't they here? Within the creation of the world, it's supposed to be this way. It was built into the system. So it's a part of the blueprint. So that's something that I just want you to hold on to and just have that stick with you a little bit more. Okay, so what happens? So, okay, great. Aleeza, there's soulmates. Okay, maybe I buy into that. Good. Okay, my soulmate exists. Good. Okay, great. Where is she? Where is he? Okay, great. Good question. Now we're going to do what I like to call, where's Waldo? We are going to go on a search. We are going to go all around the world. And we are going to look hither and thither, really close right next door, and very far across the country or the other side of the world. We have to go on a search, and we need to find your soulmate. I know for many of the people that I work with, it's been many, many years. It's been a really long time. It's been a really difficult process. And this is not something that is easy to navigate. It's not something that's fun to navigate. And it's a bit annoying and overwhelming. I see Sarah. I don't know if you guys see her. She's shaking her head and like, yeah, it's really, right? I think one of the reasons that I got into coaching and working with people to find their soulmate is because I'm so passionate about people connecting. It's just really important to me that people find each other, and the process when it's yourself, you look around and it's so frustrating. There's so much going on. For me, when I look around, I see so many possibilities. I see so many options. I see so many places that they might be. I'll give you an example. I just had a client recently and she called me. We've been working together. This was our 4th session. She said, Aleeza, we revised my profile. We talked about what else to do with dating and where I should be looking and what I should be doing. And even during this time of COVID, what am I supposed to be doing? How am I supposed to go through this dating process? And we made a plan. And she called me last week and she said, you won't believe it. I met somebody. I'm like, where? Where'd you meet him? She said, online, on one of the sites that we were looking on. And I said, what? She goes, I can't believe it. Nobody finds anybody on dating sites. She said, but I found him on a dating site. I said, yeah, people do find people on dating sites all the time. A bunch of my clients have found people on dating sites. I have one client, they're married. They live here in the Philly area and they met on JWed, and everybody's like, oh no, you're never going to meet anybody. I'm telling you, they met on JWed. They're a fabulous couple. They laugh a lot. I love hanging out with them. So what do we have to do? Now that we know that soulmates exist, we have to go on this search and we have to find them. But then you're going to start to think, okay, I found somebody, but how do I really know if this is my soulmate? Like the $1 million question, right? If I could just be a psychic and put on my little psychic hat and be like, ooh, this will be the person you will marry, right? I could get paid the big bucks because I would know exactly who the right person is. So soulmates work like this. First of all, if you need help identifying who your soulmate is or who might be good for you, you should watch our previous webinar on our relationship roadmap. And you'll hear about how to identify who would fit nicely with you. We are looking for a good fit, okay? And the question is, but how do I know? How do I know? How do I know? How do I know? The way that you actually know if this is your soulmate, get married. When you marry them, at that moment, they become your soulmate. Until then, they're just a soul thought. They're just a soul idea. They're not a soulmate. Once you actually marry them, they become your soulmate. And they become that person that you are meant to travel on this road and journey together with. Now, again, gets a little bit deep, but we have free will, right? And we also know that things are divinely inspired. And how does that work? That God has some effect in my life and my world. Wait, I also have free will. And okay, we're not going to totally dig into that because that is not only a class, but many, many classes. But I want to identify that we have to live with those two things happening simultaneously. We get to make choices in our lives that affect our lives. And we also know and have to have an amount of understanding and trust that there is a plan, there is the right plan, and that's the right plan for us, okay? I feel like this is so much to go through. a lot here. Okay. Levels of soulmate. So some people are gonna say, but Aleeza, is there only one person out there for me? So even though we said this heavenly voice called out so-and-so is for so-and-so, right? It doesn't mean that there is only one human being out there for you. How does that all add up? I don't have an answer for you. But what I can tell you is there's something called a zivug rishon, which is a primary match, a zivug sheni, a secondary match. If you've seen, there's some people that are divorced once or twice, widowed. There's different people that have different life circumstances. And you see, you're like, oh, they had a soulmate. Oh, wait, they're getting married again. They have another soulmate. Every time you're getting married, you are creating your existence with your soulmate. That's when it happens. That's when the magic happens, is under the chuppah when you get married. So is it possible to have more than one soulmate? Yes. How do you know if you're marrying the primary one or the secondary one? Again, this is very complex. And what we are looking for is somebody who you match with, somebody who you connect to, somebody who you have similar values to, somebody who you can also tolerate living with, because we have an amount of life to live and we need to do that with another human being in our space and in our face all the time. So we have to match up our values, our tolerances, our fears. We have to pull all that information together. And the best way to figure this out is to know yourself very well, to be introspective, to look inside yourself, to figure out, who am I really? And it's like puzzle pieces. So if I have a puzzle and it has 1,000 pieces in it, how do you know which piece goes next to which piece, right? And what if, I did see a puzzle like this, I almost passed out. All the pieces are white, or all the pieces are green or black, or they're all the same color. So it's a whole puzzle and everything looks like it sort of almost fits. And every time you go to like put a piece in, you're like, you know, when you tap that puzzle piece in and you're like, tap it in and you're like jamming it in, you're like, it fits. And you put it in and then later on you find out, you're like, wait, I have this extra piece. I think this goes over here. I put it in the wrong spot. And then you have to move it over. So you have, like with a puzzle, I do puzzles. I'm a little bit into puzzles. Can you tell? I examine all the curves, if it has a slightly straight or a rounded edge, if it's fatter, skinnier, if it's an edge that goes on the outside, if it's something that's only in the middle. I'm like examining every single part of this piece of the puzzle to see exactly where it's going to fit. Because there's a lot of places it might fit, or that I could like tap it in, but then there's going to be one place where it glides in a little bit easier. Ah, but Aleeza, does that mean that it's going to be easier with my soulmate? So when I meet them, if it's not easy, then it's not going to be my soulmate? Nope. Sorry.
Really?
Right? It's not going to be easier, Sarah. Is it going to be easier even if it's your soulmate? Is it going to be easier? You can tell me. Is it going to be easier?
I think it's different, but no, it's not easier.
I love that word, different. That's one of my favorite words, right? It's not easier just because you met your soulmate. It's different. And there's something there that might not be there with anybody else. Even I've had clients where, you know, the over the moon excited movies, yay, I'm getting married, right? That's like winning the matchmaking lottery. That doesn't usually happen. It happens to some people, but that's not the norm. What normally happens is you meet somebody, you get to know them, you start to connect either with their outside or their inside, or their outside and their inside. Or maybe you're kind of neutral about both, but then you're becoming more connected to them and you develop a relationship and you develop a connection. And then over the course of time, you start to evaluate it. And we're on this soulmate journey. We're on this road together to figure out if we're heading down the right path and if we're heading in a similar direction, right? What happens when you meet somebody and you're thinking, oh my gosh, they're amazing. And they think you're amazing and they're heading in this direction and you're heading in this direction. Well, I don't care that you're both so amazing. You might love each other, but you can't make it work. Soulmates have to be heading in a similar direction and looking to go on a similar path, not identical, but a similar path so that they can get to that destination together. All right. Okay, so the last thing that I want to share before we get to the Q&A is that figuring out who is the right person is one of the trickiest pieces of the puzzle. I said the last webinar that we did is a place, Relationship Roadmap is a place that you can find more information about that. And the information that is there is based on a clarity system that I have developed. And I have really great news that I'm sharing with everybody. Drum roll, Sarah. We are developing Clarity as an app, and we were just accepted by a local university to have them develop it over the course of the next year. Yay! Thank
Aleeza,
you.
how many years has this been in the works? It was the year we met. The year we met.
2016?
4 years. Yeah. Yeah. May 2016.
Great. Jen, it's Drexel University. If anybody knows, they have a senior project, and our project is going to be one of those senior projects. So I am so excited because this has been since 2016. It's been stuck in my brain. Sarah and I got it onto paper in a really clear, logical, methodical way. And now they're going to develop it into an app, which, please God, this will be, I believe, a worldwide clarity system to really help everybody, because figuring out who your soulmate is, it's the most important decision that you will make in your life. It is the single biggest decision. Who will I live with is enormous. Not to put any pressure on you, but it's huge, huge. Your job, you could change it if you don't like it. Your career, you could get a new one if you don't like it. You know, your spouse, it's kind of hard when you have to get a new one. Then you have to go through this process again and make a new soulmate. It takes so much effort. So finding that right person and making it work is something that I'm really committed to helping you with, whether it is right now, or you already met somebody and you're in between the process, or you don't even know how to meet a soulmate and you're like, I don't know what to do. It doesn't matter what it is. We would love to help you find your soulmate. Okay, that being said, we are going to start our Q&A part of the program. For any of our new friends, the questions go in the Q&A box. And we also have a list of questions that people submitted before the webinar. If you submitted a question before the webinar and it doesn't get answered, check out one of our previous, 10, 11, 11, 10, 11? I think 11, previous 11 webinars. We've been doing this for like 11, maybe 12 weeks, because we maybe skipped Passover. Since the end of March, we've been doing this. So check them out. There's replays available on marriagemindedmentor.com/events. Okay, Sarah.
Awesome.
Are we ready?
So, yeah, just a quick reminder for everyone. A bunch of questions are coming into the chat box, and we just don't, I only have...
Carly, just move them over to the Q&A.
She's not, we went through this. I need to upgrade her to the analyst then.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Can we do that?
Everybody put your questions in the Q&A box.
Okay.
So we don't miss them, please.
Alrighty. And just a quick reminder, again, like Aleeza said, if we don't answer your question, it might just be that it's not super relevant to this topic and we may have addressed it somewhere else. Definitely worth checking out. And I already have your questions you submitted if you submitted your questions before. Aleeza, I'm gonna put a little disclaimer out there. I was managing the different boxes, so I didn't totally hear everything. So if I ask you a question and you already addressed it, just say next.
Okay, you got it.
Great. First question. Is love at first sight or a feeling of connection an indication of someone being a soulmate?
Ooh, okay. It's kind of like one of those maybe yes or false positives. So love at first sight, the question is it love or is it infatuation? Often it's really infatuation. It's not really love, because what is love? Love is something that is grown and developed over the course of time. It's not something that happens at first sight. Infatuation, connection, desire, I want you, I like you happens at first sight, but love does actually not happen at first sight.
Thank you. Is the app Clarity free?
It is not developed yet. We have the prototype, and we actually have been having beta testers take a look at it. Sarah, do we want and need more beta tests? I think we're in we did a beta testing, and we need to clean everything up and fix it up so that it looks prettier than it was. So it's, let's say, currently unavailable, unless maybe you're a client and I think that you need it, and then I would use it with you. But it's not available yet, and I don't know what it's going to be in the future yet. But probably in the beginning, we'll get it out there for free. I'm assuming that's
we totally didn't talk about this, but I'm just going to throw out an idea. It could be It could be that after we make all the edits based on the last round of beta testers, it might be worth getting some more beta testers.
Okay, so you know what?
Yeah.
Email us at coach@marriagemindedmentor.com, and we would love for you to be a beta tester if we need them. Yeah.
And that's for, this is, oh, you don't have to be in a relationship. You do.
Correct.
You do.
Well,
we
can only do the first half of it. Yeah.
All right. I love this just came in. Someone said that he or she, I don't even actually know, saw in a shidduch book that infatuation is the kindling, but love is the logs that sustains the fire long term.
Ooh, I like that metaphor. Yes, but not every relationship needs infatuation, and not every log needs kindling. Maybe it just needs a blaze of fire, or maybe it just I don't know.
Meaning,
I don't know how
if you have infatuation, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Just don't mistake it for love. But if you don't have infatuation, that's also not a bad thing.
I love it when you read my brain. Thank you.
That's what I'm here for. I don't know if you address this, but how do you distinguish soulmate from that infatuation and clouding your judgment?
Hold on. Somebody wants you to say what you just said again, Sarah, that quote that you said so beautifully.
I said, I said, if you have infatuation, it's not necessarily a bad thing, provided that you don't mix it up with love. And if you don't have infatuation, that's also not a bad thing. All right. How do you distinguish soulmate from infatuation clouding your judgment?
Date them for a longer period of time. Infatuation is something that will wear off, like lipstick, ladies. It just comes off by the end of the night. Infatuation over the course of time also will come off. It will ease off. Infatuation, there's, like excitement, the feelings should be going, and your thinking might be racing, and there just might be a lot of movement that's happening internally. You see, I'm like moving as I'm saying it. There's that internal movement of something where like the cells in your body are vibrating. And until your brain and the cells in your body chill out, calm down, until you see this person as a normal human being who also has flaws and positives and negatives and everything's, you won't be able to fairly evaluate them. Also with infatuation, if you think, well, am I infatuated, or is there something more here? Can you name 5 flaws? If you could name 5 flaws and problems and things that are not great about this human being, then at least your brain is partially functioning and you're not just infatuated, but you could actually see really who somebody is. If you're like, no, there's nothing wrong with them. Like everything's, no, it's really fine. No, like I really like them. There's just, I mean, there's so much good, and like everything else, like it's not really a problem.
Are there really those people? Oh
yeah.
Really?
Hello, you haven't met any of them?
With like,
I guess I talk to a lot more people about dating than you do. So yeah, there are people that just don't see the flaws or the faults or the problems or things like that. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so someone is making a great point that infatuation can last up to 3 years according to research. And I've seen that also. And I wonder if it's kind of like we spoke about, I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago, where we were talking about the different levels of love, meaning you can love someone on a superficial level, and that doesn't mean it's not love, right? And with time it grows. Mm-hmm. Could you say that there's something similar in terms of that in infatuation? Like stage 1 infatuation is like over the top, he has no flaws. And then what would you consider the infatuation that they talk about in research that lasts like for a significant period of time? Or do you not call that infatuation?
Right. So I think I understand what the research is saying. I think that there are elements of what they're calling infatuation that are love that have developed or have started to develop. And just because somebody might not be as excited about a relationship 3 years in doesn't mean that they didn't have love or that it was only infatuation. It might mean that they don't have the skills to navigate a relationship. What usually happens is when you have infatuation, we might not have so many problems because I'm just so into this that I'm just fine with everything. And the problems come later, and then you don't have the skills to deal with the problems because you never dealt with anything in the beginning or the middle, and you're just to a point where you actually don't know how to get over things. So when I see challenges in relationships where a couple goes through something and they're like, yay, everything's great, everything's great, everything's great, I'm not happy until they go, Aleeza, what do I do? What's going on? I don't know how to handle this. And I'm like, oh, good. Haha. Now we have hit a real relationship. Real relationships have challenges. I'm not saying you have to have a crisis. I'm not saying anybody has to end up, in hysterics, but real relationships go up and down and up and down. Usually we like to see them going up and down like this and kind of heading up a mountain, as opposed to going up and down like this and like through life where it's boring humdrum. We want to be growing in our relationships, but I expect there to be downs. And by downs, I mean things that challenge us and things that don't exactly work for us, that we may not love or might not be our first preference to deal with.
Thanks. Did you answer the question?
I love when I don't answer the questions. What was the question? Say it again.
That infatuation can last up to 3 years according to the research. So because I think you made a comment about, keep dating them until you know that it's not infatuation.
Well, I kind of answered it by saying that it's not exactly infatuation. If you know that you're just happy, and you never have any problems and everything's great, then we're going to call it infatuation. Okay. You need a challenge in your relationship. You need to have challenges. If you don't overcome challenges, I don't have any faith that you have the ability to do that in a long-term relationship.
So you're talking about like stage 1 infatuation in the sense that all is good, there is no bad whatsoever in here.
And if they're telling me that can last up to 3 years, okay, don't marry somebody until you have a problem. Make sure you have a problem before you get married. Overcome a challenge together. I love when couples overcome challenges together. It's like glue. It sticks them together. It's so beautiful.
Awesome. Okay. If someone isn't your soulmate, but you marry them, does the marriage create a soulmate despite how much mismatched you are?
Right. So that's kind of what I was saying in the intro, which is marrying somebody makes a soulmate. So if you're mismatched, you are a soulmate who is going to have a challenging time existing in this world unless the two of you learn how to adapt. So yes, marrying them is free will and your choice to choose them and to say, you're mine. You're my soulmate. I'm making you that.
Awesome. What do you do when you fall for someone and they don't like you back and you think they're your soulmate, but they don't think the same way?
Wait like 3 months and try again. And then if it still doesn't work, wait another 3 months and try again. Okay, so after you grab your box of tissues and you're like, because they don't like me, and you cry a river, I would tell you that if it takes two to tango, it takes two to make a soulmate. It takes two people. The other person has to choose you. You can try to date them. You can try to build a relationship. You could try to do a lot of things. If you have tried everything, and by the way, I do love kind of figuring out how to win somebody over and build a relationship, not because we want to do something against their will, but because we want to see the full potential. If there really is potential there, then I believe in looking into those things.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm that woman with percentages from last time.
Hello.
Are there markers or indicators which one could orient themselves with to understand if a partner is a soulmate?
Right. So I think the answer is clarity and what we talked about last time. Sarah, do we have any markers or indicators other than that, or that is our soulmate?
Yeah, that is.
It's our soul marker.
Yeah.
Is that the name of it? Do you like it?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, there's something to work with there. We'll talk about this later. Yeah, there's something there. Yeah, but the short answer is that the clarity process that we talked about last time is what helps you get to that point where you make the decision, essentially the choice and the decision that this is my soulmate.
Right.
Awesome. Okay, so we already answered that. Give me 1 second. Does being Shomer Nagia help to shorten the infatuation time and provide better clarity if they are my soulmate?
Yeah, just define it for everybody, please.
Yes. Shomer Nagia is a Orthodox practice of opposite genders not touching each other until after they're married.
Great.
So, yeah.
Okay, so I love the practice of Shomer Nagia, and I believe that if you withhold touch and you still want to hang out with that human being and you like them and you're excited about being with them, then we have a much clearer indication that there's a true connection there, an internal connection, more than just an external connection that might be based on infatuation, which might be based on physical touch. So I very much follow and believe in the practice of Shomer Nagia and guarding your touch in order to gain clarity. If you are, yeah, I hear, David, such an ancient custom. However, it's super modern also. And I will tell you, if you would like to enjoy physical intimacy even more, just keep your hands off for even longer. The longer you keep it off, the better it is when a couple is able to reunite and be together. If you look at, it's not just Judaism that follows this, Christianity and Hindus and Muslims, a lot of faith-based religions follow this practice, and they find it to be something that's also scientifically proven that it helps to build. You want to say it, Sarah?
No, someone just dropped a link in the.
Oh, great.
Oh,
great. But it's scientifically proven that by having hands off, it actually, so this is a different point, it enhances the physical connection and it enables a couple to stay together for a length of time, as opposed to being tired of each other and moving on. That's a totally different point than gaining clarity in a relationship, but both of them, it's a win-win. So if you haven't tried it, I have a challenge for anybody who is not practicing Shomer Nagia and is like, I don't even know what that is, but whatever. I highly recommend you give it my 5-date challenge a try, which is just keep your hands off for 5 dates, nothing. If you still like them after 5 dates, you still actually want to see them. And I'm talking about 5 in-person dates, sorry, not 5 virtual dates, but 5 in-person dates. If you still actually like the human being across from you, you know, you guys can do what you like, but I'm more confident that you like what's on the inside, or you like enough of what's on the inside to be a little bit more clear-headed when you're going forward. If there's physical touch right away, I don't know if you like them because you touched them or if you like them because you like who they are as a human being. You probably don't know them well enough. If you've only met them once or twice, you actually don't know the human being that's across from you. So how could you like them? You actually have to get to know them. And to do that, you've got to keep your hands off.
Awesome. Speaking, so you just mentioned before challenges help overcome infatuation. Can you share a good example of a challenge, and can challenges be handled in a pleasant way or do they have to be bad? And what is the best way to handle those challenges?
Challenges can totally be more neutral. It's not bad. It's not explosive. It's not negative. It's just a point of friction. I want this, you want that. I think this, you think that. I'm heading in this direction, you're heading in that direction. And we have a certain rub and a certain friction that happens between us when that happens, and we have to navigate through it. Some people are excellent communicators, and so they verbally talk it out and they go back and forth. Some people, one half of the couple is an excellent communicator and the other one is conflict avoidant. And so this one wants to talk and work it out. And this one's like, no, thank you. And they're just not looking to schmooze with anybody. So we have to learn how to work through things. And it doesn't have to be something that's super negative. It can be something that is simply what it is. It's just something that we are not on the same page about that causes our relationship friction.
Awesome. Thank you.
Did they ask for specific examples? You want, like, you know, where to move, living in a certain city, or jobs, like whose job is more important and where we need to be and what we need to do, or whose family we need to live near because these are like later on in the relationship kind of things, or even where we go and what we do when we go out on a date, something like that.
Is it possible to be kind of blind and never see your soulmate?
I like that question. Good question. Yeah. Yeah. I think you could just, ignore what's happening around you and do your own thing and live in your own world and not find them. If you're genuinely searching for them, no, I don't think you're going to be blind and miss them. But if you have the attitude of like, well, I guess whenever I meet them, then I'll just know and then it'll just work, then I think you might miss them. You could, not you might, you could.
Okay. I said awesome. Not awesome, but thank you. In the book, in Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus book, they talk about a soul connection. What is your perspective on that? What makes that soul connection?
So I feel like, again, we go back to this relationship roadmap, which really talks about values. Who are you? What do you value in the world? What do I value? Where do our values really align? And where are we heading in life? Are we going on this similar path? Are we heading in a similar direction? We don't need to be going at the same speed. That's the one thing that can differ. I can be going, I always say this, 60, and you can be going 40, and we can be going down the road together. But we've got to be heading in the same direction. It cannot be that I'm going 60 like this and you're going 40 like this. And you're like, Aleeza, make a U-turn, come back, right? It's not going to work to do it that way. So we really need you to be on the same page, and couples that have similarities and things in common. There was a rabbi that told my husband when he was looking for his soulmate, he said, what should I look for? Like, who should I pick? And he said, men and women are different enough. Find somebody that you have a lot in common with. It just makes it that much easier. Now, that being said, we also say that opposites attract, right? So we give you the very Jewish answer. It's this, and it's also that. Both of those things.
Basically, you can't go wrong. Find someone. All right. Mrs. Ben Shalom, when you say that there is so much weight of importance on choosing your soulmate, makes me nervous. I've become very easygoing because I've dated so much and I'm getting impatient finding the right one. So as long as the person is semi-normal, I just want to accept the match.
Okay. I think that's a great way to go about it, because it sounds like you are ready to meet somebody and you are flexible with what you're looking for and more open. I'm so sorry. Did not mean to make you nervous. What I said and why I said it like that is because a lot of people call me with those thoughts and those feelings. And being that this isn't like a job where I might want to switch it next year, we have to have a little bit more clarity and a little bit more confidence in our decision. So it is a big decision. This is somebody you're going to see day in and day out. So we need it to be somebody that you're going to like and that you're going to be able to connect with and build a relationship with, or at least tolerate or desire to be around. By the way, if you're super easygoing, if you have one of those flexible personalities and you're like, I get along with them or them or them, like I just need somebody to pick me. I could really get along with anybody. I have had clients like that. Then you're really waiting for somebody to pick you because you're not so particular. And everybody's like, oh, but you can't be too picky. But if you're not picky, then I don't feel like you're going to pick me and I'm going to be important to you. Why would I be any more important to you than Sarah would be? It's no difference to you. Whichever one of us picks you, then we're the winner. It doesn't feel so good. It doesn't feel like you know me, like you understand me, like you desire me. And we want to be wanted by the other person. We want to be desired. We want to have this connection. And I need to know that you know me and that you know you and that we match, and that needs to make sense.
Got it. Just a comment just came in on the last question, which was research shows that similarity is way more important than opposites attract. And I know that you've spoken about this before. Do you want to talk about it for another minute?
Well, I like that research.
I know you do. I know you do. And I was definitely like raised to believe that opposites attract. So could you talk for a minute on why that similarity is so important?
So life throws you a lot of challenging things. And when there's differences, it just means that with every difference that we have, we approach things differently. So if we have 5 differences, then for 5 things, I'm heading like this and you're heading like this, and we each have to deal with it. And I'm me, you're you, and we're figuring out this relationship. And there's this relationship that exists between us, but there's not so much space for it because everything about who I am is in my box over here and everything about who you are is in your box here. And we don't have so much overlap in the middle. What we really want is somebody who's similar that we fill this middle space with because we are able to connect. So just for example, let's just say I'm marrying somebody and they're from a different culture. Okay, fine. That's one difference. It's a different culture. Well, it plays out in many different ways in your life. But if they have so many different preferences in life, where they want to live and what they want to do and how they want to raise a family, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. I like you, I'm drawn to you, I'm connected to you, but we don't have any of these things in common. Then every time you come to one of these things that you have to deal with, you have friction and rub and conflict. And so opposites create a lot of conflict. Something that I know is that first marriages, people tend to choose opposites more so than similarities, like people that are more similar to themselves. And second marriages, people have learned from their mistakes and they choose somebody that's a little bit more similar to them, and that that they realize that they're not looking for so much challenge in life.
Awesome. So someone said,
friction.
Someone said, I think I need someone a bit different for me for balance, not too different. So I think the difference between men and women is like different enough. I think no matter what, even if you find someone that's similar to you, there's gonna be difference. Like
people do choose people who are different. We have people from different cultures or different countries, right, Sarah?
Do you remember when okay, let's just give a little bit of background. Aleeza was my dating coach for a few years. And when I met my now fiance, and she kept saying like, yeah, it could work. And I'm just like, but Aleeza, remember how you're very into like, go for similar. Life is going to be hard enough. Married life is going to be hard enough. And I'm just like, Aleeza, there's just nothing similar about us. Nothing. We both like to travel. End of conversation.
And you have a heart-to-heart real connection, and you have a nice way of communicating with each other and building each other up and supporting each other. There are a lot of similarities internally,
right?
But externally, it just seems like there's other differences.
Yeah. Is there a singular most important quality to look for in a person? Is there anything universal? Is it really different from person to person?
So there is like a top, I don't know if it's 3 or 5, and I don't have it off the top of my head. I think I'll give you, one is definitely midos, which are character traits, which are really at the core and the essence of who somebody is. And that is a big one. So it's not how they treat you, it's how they treat and interact with the world. And that is who they are, and you have to accept who they are, and you have to like and be connected to who they are. So that I think is universal and a very large one. Trying to think of the second one, like a second runner up that I think is most important. Sarah, how do you describe hashkafa, but in not even a religious term? It's really like a
mindset, outlook on life.
An outlook on life, right? So there's character traits, and then there's your outlook on life. So some people say, I'm looking for a positive person. Well, it's not just because they want somebody happy. They want an overall disposition of somebody who views the world and has a certain outlook, because that's going to really work for them. So I think that character traits and outlook are probably the top 2, or within the top 5. And then I would like to sleep on it and get back to you with, maybe we'll have to put that in the email if I can come up with the others that are a little bit more universal. Carly,
can you send a note to Aleeza reminding her and copy me on it so I know to put it. So in a case where the person is amazing and there is a connection and there are similarities, but the challenge is difference of culture or race or something like that, you're saying it can still work.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for sure, different culture, different race, color, like we don't care. A
Okay.
person is a person, and look, it's a soul mate. It's a soul connection, right? So it's not a body connection, but it is a soul, it's a soul mate, and it is a soul body connection because we also live in this world. So you do have to be comfortable with this person that you're with. And I expect that there's going to be plenty of couples where there's differences, and that you are going to have a good inner core and strength, and the ability for you as a couple to overcome the places of friction and challenge.
And it's like you said before, that it's that challenge and that conflict that's actually going to help develop the relationship further and deeper.
Right. Exactly.
I just want to make note of this comment because it is so relatable. My kids are great. I have a great job, great friends, financially stable, but dating just seems so complicated. Does anyone else agree with me? Okay, I'll try to stay positive as I'm new to this.
I do.
But yes it is. Yes, it is. You are
I agree.
so not alone.
I agree.
So not alone. All right. When two people meet and feel strongly drawn to one another as people, as man, woman, in terms of spiritual qualities, but the woman feels that the man's community feels a bit too from or orthodox or whatever for her to be comfortable there. Is there a way to cut past this as soulmates?
It's a good question. So I have seen couples do super creative things, and I'll give you an example. I know one couple where she's in a more observant community and he's in a less observant community. This is their second time around. They're in their 50s, 60s, and he lives part of the time with her, and then he's part of the time working and living in the community that he was in originally. And when he's with her, he is on her page. Wherever she goes, he goes. They're like one unit, one couple, one soulmate. And then when they're, not together, he's, within his community and what he's comfortable with. Is that ideal? Who's going to say what's ideal or not ideal? That's what they're doing. That's what works for them. Many couples are going to be living together and 24/7 together and not living separately, which is the most common thing that's going to be happening. So if you're not comfortable in a community, even if you really like a person, if they're not willing to be in a different community with you, it's going to be very hard to be there. And it might be that this is a fantastic person. Could it be that it's your soulmate and I don't know. I think if you're not, again, if you don't marry them and you don't choose them, then no, it's not going to be your soulmate. Are you going to miss them? Are you missing the opportunity? I don't think that anybody would expect you to live someplace where you're going to be so uncomfortable all the time. That's not going to make for a happy life, a happy wife, a happy husband, or a happy marriage. It's going to be very difficult.
Thanks. What if you're torn between going forward and stopping a relationship that has been going for a long time simply because it has so many stops and starts? Is it normal to grow tired? Should you stop if it seems stale?
I always debate with this. On one hand, I'm like, let's get some momentum going. You have something, there's something here. You stuck around for long enough. On the other hand, well, if you're just here and it's neutral, well, how long do we have to stick in it until something actually happens? I have seen couples successfully take breaks and come back together and make it work. I have also seen couples charge ahead and say, we've got to shift this. We've got to make something happen. We've got to build this. And I would ask you to do a values assessment and to see what's holding you back. A values, a fears, an irritant, that basically clarity. I would ask you to do a clarity assessment. Usually we come up with the answers there and we take all of your thinking and all of your feelings and we get it all on paper and we look at it and we're like, oh, here's what's going on. Here's the challenges that you're having in these areas. Can you start by working on these areas? And if you work on these areas, maybe this relationship is going to get the momentum that it needs. That would be my recommendation.
Awesome. Thank you. This conversation always makes me think, since everyone has a soulmate, how come there are so many people who never get married? Is it because they looked past their soulmate?
Some people can. I've met people who have said, I've met some really fantastic people in my life and I said no, or I wasn't ready, or I didn't want it, and I moved on. can you look past you can. We have free will. Can you look past them? Simple answer, free will. Yes, you can choose to look past them. How come there's so many single people in the world? It's the way it is. We are born into the world single, and then we stay single until we find that person, and finding that person is as difficult as splitting the sea. So it can be that you miss them. It can be that this is just a difficult process. There's just so many things about this that that are unknown. I personally believe if you're genuinely looking and sincerely looking, and you continue looking and you do many different things, I believe you will find them. I have a firm, because they exist. They're here. They don't have to be created. They exist in this world. I know they exist. It's in the blueprint of the world. It's how the world was made. So I know they're here. Where are we going to find them? When are we going to find them? How are we going to find them? Yeah, that's the question.
All right. Where does physical attraction fit into finding and recognizing your soulmate? Soulmate is a spiritual connection, but we need to be attracted to the physical side as well. No? When you have a good connection with someone but are not attracted to them, could it be that they're actually your soulmate, or are they just meant to be a really good friend?
Oh,
like
Sarah. What's my typical answer? You know my typical answer with looks. So looks are such an interesting thing. If you are, okay, ready? Basic rule of thumb for all my newbies. Actually, anybody who's been here before, do you know what I'm going to say? You can put it in the comments. When
in doubt?
When in doubt, go out or
date them till you hate them.
That's it. You got it, Tassie. When in doubt, go out or date them till you hate them. That is the rule of thumb, which basically means if you are neutral and you are dating, you're either eventually going to get to a yes or a no. You can get to a yes. I have seen couples go in neutral and they get married. Happy, happy, happy. It's fine. Why were they in neutral? Does it matter? It just, for some people, they are not as initially drawn to somebody. Can it also be that you go out, and eventually it ends? Yeah, it also happens. It doesn't always pull through. My recommendation is that you keep going out and that you do as much introspection to figure out what will work, and find a physical feature you like. Do you like their eyes? Do you like their teeth? Do you like their ears? Do you like their fingernails? I don't care what physical part you like. Look at something that you actually like and just connect to that, connect to what's going on the inside, what they're saying and who they are, and see if you can become more comfortable with who they are and draw yourself in a little bit more.
Fair. If someone constantly comes back into your life for years and it hasn't been working out with other guys, could he be the one? He's afraid of commitment and I can't wait around, but like it's not going anywhere with anyone else. Is this a sign?
He could be. I like people, mystery in your history. I like people that come, a blast from the past and they come into the future. If he has commitment issues, then I'm concerned. No, I don't want you waiting around, but I think you could have a very real conversation. Hi, I'm interested. I'm interested in finding my soulmate. It's possible that you could be that person, but my soulmate is only my soulmate once we get married, and I'm interested in marriage. Do you want to date for marriage? Ask him. Ask him. You don't have anything to lose because you don't have him. So give it a shot and see what happens. And if he says no, or if he says not now, if he says no, by the way, he's not saying no to you. He might just be saying no because of commitment issues. Let him disappear. If he comes back later and you're still single and he's like, no, I'm in, I'm ready, I'm done, I'm finally he's there, we could give somebody an opportunity at that point.
Awesome. Follow-up question from me. How do you feel about signs in general? Like, are there signs, or is it really just a matter of how we perceive signs? Like, are we looking for the signs so we see the signs?
I saw the sign. You're too young. You don't know that song. Okay, signs. So some people are a little bit more drawn to these signs. Ace of base, thank you. Somebody knows what I'm saying. Okay, so some people are more drawn to signs. Some people are looking for that. Maybe it's because you want that confirmation. Maybe it's because you need that confirmation. Maybe it's because you operate on that. When you go for a job, you're also looking for signs. When you're looking for a friend, you're also looking for signs. If you're one of those sign seekers in the world and you feel like the universe and God has this conversation with you through signs and you know how to read them and you know how to recognize them, can you use them as a guide? Yes. Do you have to be skilled at using them and know yourself and the signs well and figure it out? Yes. Can they, again, be a false positive or a false negative? They could be. So don't read into it so much. I need you to use your brain. I need you to use your heart, and I need you to use your gut. And if you use those three things, then the signs will help to confirm what you already know. And I think that's more what a sign is for me. A sign is usually a confirmation of something you know. It's not an aha, news flash, fireworks, here's something that you didn't know. It's more of a confirmation of something that you do know.
That makes sense.
By the way, I never said it like that. I like that answer. That was good.
Carly, did you take notes?
No, wait, everybody, we have to welcome Lana. She is our new intern alongside Carly. Hello, and thank you. And she's taking notes for us.
Oh, that's awesome. Yay. Woohoo. That makes me happy. So I just want to, we got a comment in the chat box. I just want to make note, everything that Aleeza is addressing here is for all ages. So 65 and older, Aleeza doesn't need its own set of instructions.
No, I mean, if you have a specific question, whether it's divorced or widowed or never been married, but specifically at a certain age or stage, I could answer that specifically, but this is advice for all ages and stages, 20s through 60s.
Awesome. I don't know.
Or 70s or 80s. My oldest client was 89. Dapper.
Yeah.
He was so dapper and cute.
I feel like you probably don't have an answer for this, but I'm just going to ask it anyway because I like it. After having a long and wonderful life, what happens to our relationship with our soulmate in the Messianic era in the world to come?
Wow. Yeah. Spectacular question. So I know a guy who wrote the book on the Messianic era and what is coming in the world to come. And I am going to ask him and the rabbi that he worked with, and I will get back to you. Spectacular question. I love it.
Awesome. All right. So I got a question here. I'm going to rephrase it the way I understand it, but if I got it wrong, you can just comment with a follow-up. Do people who have had challenging pasts have an easier time identifying their soulmates, especially with older couples?
With challenging pasts have an easier time. Interesting. Right. Because I know myself so well, because I've been through so many things, because I'm so clear about so many things. So when I meet people, I might be more clear. No, it could be that you're less clear, just to throw that out there, because you have all of these things from the past. You might have fears or stressors or anxieties or triggers. The more life experience that we have, the more of a formed human being that we are on our own without our soulmate. And so recognizing somebody else actually might get more difficult over time and not necessarily get easier over time. I'm not saying that's a fact that it will, but I don't think that more life experience sometimes makes us more picky. It might make us, more narrow-minded. It could make us more open-minded, or it could make us more or less tolerant. So it really depends on the person. And no, you're not necessarily going to have more clarity. Could you? You might. I'm instinctually, no, I don't think you'll necessarily have more clarity.
Awesome.
But you have more wisdom about yourself and life.
Thanks. Is there really a soulmate, or do we need to really work at a relationship?
Double yes. Sarah knew. Yes. Yes, there's really a soulmate, and yes, you really have to work at a relationship. So soulmate is not a free pass to happily ever after. A lot of people think, I found my soulmate. Oh my gosh, happily ever after. And then they get married and they're like, wait, I don't understand, but you're my soulmate. It's not supposed to be this difficult. So yes, on one hand, life shouldn't be this difficult with a partner. It shouldn't be to the point of your breaking point. But again, this life is going to go up and down, and you're going to have challenges, and you're going to experience them with your soulmate if you're married. That's what happens. You experience it together. So yeah, good luck. No, I'm kidding. No, you got this. What I mean is you got this. Like, we can handle this. We were made for this.
Thanks. Someone said, I heard someone say happily ever after is only true in fairy tales.
Yeah, it is. You're happily ever sometimes.
That's good.
You know, good title of an article?
No. Happily ever after, happily ever sometimes. No, it would be happily sometimes after.
Okay, you got it. That one. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I like that. Lana, that's an article title. Happily sometimes after. All right. How do you stay positive when waiting for your soulmate?
Yeah, you have to work on that. That is something I work on with my clients a lot, because they might be a great person in a great position in life, doing great things, and still not meeting that great person. And when people get to that position, so I worked with a client, and all of what I described is where she was holding. We had worked together for a couple of months, and she's like, okay, Aleeza, now what? Right? And I said, well, no, I don't have a next. I said, I need you to go on cruise control with your dating, meaning everything that we've set up, just keep doing, keep going, keep going. And with life, I need you to remain positive. I need you to remain happy. I need you to remain engaged in your life and do something else. And I need you to keep going with this. Sarah, do me a favor. Sorry, I get lost in a story. You have to repeat the question, because I'm going to end up not answering it. And then you're going to tell me I didn't answer the question.
Ooh. Which one was it? I'm like 4 questions ahead of you.
I sometimes get on.
How do you stay positive when you're waiting for your soulmate?
Okay, thank you. Everybody should know that I sometimes get on a rant, and then Sarah's like, but you never answered the question, so I caught myself. Okay, so the way that you stay positive is that you actively work on yourself every single day, every single week, every single month. And you need to do a refresh and a reset. I would recommend that once a month, and do an evaluation, look into yourself and work on yourself. Pick one thing to work on, either that day or that week or that month. Make a mission, whether it's that you want to smile more, or you want to be more friendly, or more easygoing, or more positive, or work on visualizing your soulmate. See them, see yourself standing there happily. Do you see that? Oh, we're having such a nice time together. We're walking, we're talking. Oh, look at that. We're one of those cute couples walking down the street, right? See it, feel it. Bring in those positive feelings as if you're meeting them, as if you're connecting to them, and remind yourself that they're here. Aleeza told you, and it's true. They exist. They are on the earth. You're not searching for a mystical, magical dragon or a unicorn. That does not exist. Soulmates are not unicorns or dragons. For real. They exist in this world. Soulmates are real. And knowing that should give you comfort. And then you can put a smile on your face, and then you can be positive, but you're going to have to work on it. We can work on it if you want. Call me.
Can I add something to that?
Always.
Thanks. I think figuring out, so we have a concept in Judaism of hishtadlus, of putting in effort, right? So soulmates exist. That means my soulmate's out there somewhere, but I still need to put in the effort in order to find that person, right? Taking some time to figure out what is the right level of effort, the right level of hishtadlus that I feel I need. Once I figure out what that level is, and I can look at what I'm doing and say, either I need to do a little bit more, in which case I do more, or this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Now it's just time to wait. At that point, take comfort in the fact that you're doing your part and let God do his part. And at the same time, do things that make you happy and fill you with joy that are separate from dating, because you're doing good in the dating area. Now do good for yourself.
Yes, that's my favorite part. Thank you. Thank you. I love that advice. And I love when my singles actually do that, because they do become happy and they don't go
Yeah.
crazy on the dating spot. Yep.
Yeah. And I think the first part is important for the second part, because I think sometimes, like, you hear this all the time, and I think we actually got in a question about this, about someone who made a comment about like wanting to go on vacation, and then people around her were like, well, you can't go on vacation. What if you meet a guy? And what if you, and it's like, you're always going to have that. There's always going to be that one person who says, is that really what you want to be doing right now? What if you miss your soulmate? You know what I mean? But
Right. You're not going to miss them, not by doing the right thing for you.
Right. If you're doing the right thing for you, then you could take that worry off your mind, which gives you space to explore what makes you right, like what makes you happy, and helps you stay positive through the process.
Yes.
Awesome. What about people who are friends but do not think of each other in a romantic sense and are keeping things platonic, but then someday later they end up dating and sometimes they even get married? Could you please share some insights on or findings on that? I've heard it said it's ideal to marry your best friend, so maybe there's something to that. Of course, there has to be some physical attraction developed.
I love, with a capital L, love friends getting married. I love it. Why? Because I know that you actually like each other, because people who are friends actually choose each other and they like each other, and they usually get along well, and they usually have things in common. So for all those reasons, I love when friends date, and I love when friends get married, and I love when friends give it a shot. Even if it doesn't go anywhere, even if one side tries and the other one says no, I still love it that you made an effort, because you're making an effort with a really smart choice. Instead of just Mr. or Mrs. Random, you're choosing somebody that I know is a good person for you potentially. Now, the attraction piece, there's different things. Sometimes our brain gets a little bit stuck in friend zone and we don't see their beauty, or they're not exactly our look. So we can be friends, or we became first friends before we became attracted. But I also have this theory, which is in my book. Wait, I'll show you my book. It's in Get Real, Get Married, that, hang on, that men and women can't be friends. That is my theory. I should always just keep the book out during the webinars, but here it is, and I will tell you. Chapter 29 on page 97 in Get Real, Get Married. This is on Amazon. There is a chapter all about men and women can't be friends. Why can't you really be friends? Because I have a theory. One of you is always attracted to the other. And if you're like, but Aleeza, it's not me, then it's them. It's the other person. And if you don't believe me, you're wrong, because it's true.
So true.
Just test my theory out. It works every time. It works. Somebody is always interested, or both people are interested to a degree, or something, or something. It always happens. It always happens. So I love it. If you can do it, do it. If you're not sure what to do, we're here. We're coaches. Sign up with us and get a complimentary call, pick a coach, choose who to work with. We will work with you through it. We love helping friends find each other and build something.
Awesome. I don't know if you address this, but what happens if your soulmate married someone else?
Right. So we talked about different levels of soulmates. We talked about, different possibilities for soulmates. So if they're your soulmate and they married somebody else, and you believe they're your soulmate and they believe they're your soulmate, then they're probably going to be getting divorced soon. And I'm sorry about that, because they might be needing to get married to you. Yeah, could it happen? Yes, but there is still a soulmate out there for you. Even they're not your soulmate. They can't be your soulmate. You didn't marry them. So it's only the person that you thought was going to be your soulmate, which is just a correction. When you see that they get married, you can be like, oh, I guess they're not, because they picked their soulmate. So you need to pick a different soulmate.
Wait, so were they ever not soulmates? Really?
Well, they never became soulmates. You become a soulmate. The only way to be a soulmate is to get married and become one soul.
That's fair. That's fair.
1 + 1 = 1. Jewish math. Soulmate math.
So mad. Okay. I'm going to paraphrase this question because it's come up a few times. Very common, especially in the shidduch community where people are being set up, that someone just kind of pushes someone to go out with another person, even if they're not feeling it. And
that happens in the secular community also. 100%. Yeah.
And there's this sense of, do I go out? I really don't think it's for me. I really don't want to go out. I don't want to mislead anyone. What's the point? I don't need to waste anyone's time. Versus, but maybe it's my soulmate. Am I supposed to go out just because it might be? I don't want to miss them. How do we deal with that?
Oh, that's challenging. So I go through this a lot with clients, and some people are so closed-minded that we have to open their mind a little bit, and we have to expand their potential, and we have to have them consider going out with other people. Some people are so open-minded that they go out with everybody, and another person is really shattering them, and it's too much. Some people have been saying no to people for years, and they need to do this in order to build the relationship. And yes, there is always a possibility, even if you don't see it, because sometimes we're not always so clear. We are blindsided to certain things and we're not seeing them so clearly. So what should you do? It really depends on who you are. If you're always that person giving everybody a chance and you really know what you're looking for, I don't recommend people just go out because somebody else said you should. I want good, solid reasons why you should go out and why it makes sense for you. Not you're a good person, therefore you should go out. It's like this. You're a good person, I'm a good person. Together we make sense because fill in the blank. If somebody cannot fill in the blank with at least 3 good reasons, we don't need you to go out. Awesome. I like the smile on your face.
I like it. Should there be like a bolt of lightning, like, you're my soulmate?
Nope.
Okay.
You might like that. You might like that and want that. Hang on, I gotta fill my water bottle. You might like that and you might want that, and you might be really hoping that that's gonna happen for you, but it's not necessarily gonna happen that way. And it's like winning the lottery, you know, like, yay, it's my soulmate, it worked out. Are you that kind of person? Do you get really super excited when you get a job, when you meet a new friend, when something happens, Okay, yeah, you might get super excited when you meet your soulmate. Oops. Oh, I need my battery charged. Okay, keep going as I find my charging cord.
All right, so the question here is, can we have successful relationships, marriages, if someone is not our soulmate? And how do we strengthen those relationships? So I think
what happened to my video?
You bounced.
Yeah.
I think what you said was, if you marry someone, they become your soulmate. Is there a possibility that so there's no possibility that you got married and it was like, oops, you're not soulmates.
Can you throw me host Sarah?
Yes, ma'am.
Because my battery is about to die.
As soon as I figure it out. Yes, I remembered.
Hang with us. Thanks, everybody. Just a moment of technical difficulties.
All right.
Oh, there I am.
Where am I?
Okay, great. Don't we love it when that happens? Welcome to the world, everybody. This is where we have fun and we disappear on you virtually and then we virtually come back. Thanks.
We're virtual magicians. What can I say?
Okay, Sarah, you're up. What's the question?
All right. So we established that one, that once if you marry someone, you become soulmates, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. How do we nurture and preserve the relationship with our soulmate as the years continue, since it is an eternal bond?
Ooh, consistently, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, often, we need to water it. Like this plant, if you do not water it, and just the right amount, right? If I water this every single day with a cup of water, this plant will die. It's just not it's too much. If I put it in the direct sunlight, and this is a plant that does not like direct sunlight, it likes indirect light, this plant will die. Your relationship will die also if it's overwatered or underwatered or oversunned or undersunned. So we need to do the right thing. What does that mean? Oh, Aleeza, that's so nice. It's just so vague. Why are you just telling me vague advice? Because your relationship is very personal to you. And so do you need to do something daily, weekly, monthly, yearly? You need to figure out your relationship rhythm, and you need to figure out what's going to work for you and what you guys need together in order to maintain a happy and healthy relationship. And I would start with making sure that you have date night once a week. That's right. The two of you do something together once a week. Friends of ours years ago told us that, as we were already in the middle of, I don't know, we probably had 3 kids at that time. We're like, date night once a week. We're so happy if we go out once a month. And they're like, no, you have to get a babysitter and go out once a week for sure. And we looked at each other like, wow, really, it's such a luxury. But we followed their advice, and we realized that it wasn't a luxury. It was something that our relationship needed in order to build our connection and get back to that dating and enjoying each other phase, and not just building a family or paying attention to everybody else in the world. So nurture your relationship. If you don't know where to start out with date night once a week. If you can't handle that because you're like, wow, we don't even go out once a month, then start with once a month, and then go every 2 weeks, and then see if you want to move it once a week.
Awesome. In terms of knowing my soulmate, or I guess identifying my soulmate, how much is logical and how much is feeling?
I love this.
I know you do.
It depends on who you are. It depends on who you are. Some people are operating out of their thinking, and some people are operating out of their heart, and some people are balanced and they're operating out of both, and some people are average in both, and some people are ahead in one and way behind in the other. So there is no magic formula. What there is knowing yourself. If you're one of those thinkers that mulls things around in your head, then it's going to be a head decision, and you're going to have to work on building the emotional heart side. If you're a heart side that just falls in and it feels right to you and you just know it, then you're gonna have to work on thinking, why do I like them? What do I value about them? What's in this relationship for me to give, and how do I need to receive, and how can we build this? And you have to really work on the thinking side of things. So it just depends on who you are. It's both. It's a combination of both. Where you're weak, you should strengthen yourselves. Where you're strong, you should acknowledge the goodness that exists there, because that's your stronger suit.
Awesome. Thanks. All right. So regarding what we spoke about before about hishtadlus, can not doing enough hishtadlus to improve yourself prevent you from meeting your soulmate? Meaning, could you not be at the proper level to meet your soulmate, and you need to reach a certain point in order to be reunited with that soul?
Well, the last part of the question, yes, to reunite with a certain soul, if you're not at a certain level, you might not merit to meet them, but you can meet a different soulmate who's at a different level, which is going to be an appropriate level for where you are at today. So I've heard from some people, they want a certain level and they're like, but I'm not there yet. I said, okay, so would you like to get there, or would you like to look for somebody different? And I leave that decision up to the individual to decide.
So I think that the point there is, you're still deciding how much hishtadlus is right hishtadlus for you, whether that hishtadlus is going out on a certain amount of, signing up for a certain amount of dating sites and meeting shadchanim, or if that hishtadlus is, I'm going to do some inner work and improve myself. But either way, there's a hishtadlus point that feels right for you. Make sense?
Yeah. And can you define that hishtadlus so that everybody is
so
with us?
when you said hishtadlus is effort that the effort that you put into something. So in this case, the effort that you put into yourself to get on a good page for dating. Someone asked, can people find 3 things anyway? I don't understand the question. If you want to clarify that, I will do my best to get to it. And there was one here that since you brought it up, what is a date night like for married people?
That's a good question. I think everybody does it differently. I could tell you about our date nights, and I can tell you about other people's that have shared with me. Sometimes it is a walk around the block for an hour or 2, just talking and walking. Same thing like you'd go on a date and do something. One night I was trying to, spice it up and make like life interesting for a married couple. And so I told my husband, I'm like, I got date night tonight. And he goes, okay, great. Where are we going? And I'm like, I'm not telling you, it's a surprise. And he said, okay, but I'm going to know where we're going when we get in the car. I said, no, close your eyes.
Are you serious?
I did. So he's like, this sounds great. He said, I'm going to take a nap. And he leaned back in the car. He didn't really take a nap. And because he wasn't looking, but he was, feeling where we were going in the turns, he started to take a guess where we were going. And I took him one night to go shoot pool. By the way, it was the first and last time we have ever shot pool. We never did it when we were dating.
Are you serious?
He's ridiculously good. He broke and then he like ran the table and I was like, oh gosh, I don't think I'm going to even get a turn. Sweetheart, I didn't know you were so good. And he laughed. Yeah, we had never shot pool before. So we did that. One time we like to do double date nights sometimes. So sometimes we'll go out with another couple and we'll go to dinner. One time I did a date night, believe it or not, with my in-laws. I also told him to cover his eyes and I surprised him and I drove to his parents' house and we showed up and we're like, hi, we're here and we have no kids and we just want to spend time with you and hang out. And we had such a great night. It was so unique. It was something that you don't normally get to do because the kids are running around and they're there. So sometimes we go out and it's the two of us and we enjoy each other's company. And sometimes we do a double date night. And I'm trying to think of other date nights. I mean, a lot of times we'll go out and have a nice meal. We enjoy being served and we enjoy, just talking and catching up. But we make a rule that we just don't talk about kids and life and stuff. We talk about hopes and dreams and, what our vision used to be and what our vision really is now. Our meaning the two of us, not just, us with our family, but us as a unit. Because at any age or stage, if you have children in your life, at some point, God willing, they'll be out of your life and moving on with their own life. There are some people that don't have that luxury. There are children that stay with them if they are special needs or in need of more care and love. But usually our load is lightened over the course of the years. And as soulmates, we get to spend that time together. So we still want to build our hopes and dreams as a vision between the two of us, which is a smaller vision than a whole family vision.
Awesome. I like that. All right, we got 2 more questions and then we're going to wrap up. What about opposites? Okay, so this is going back to the topic about go with similarities rather than looking for the opposites. What about opposites and how we deal with stress? Like if I freak out with something stressful, would it be better to have someone who stays calm but might get me nervous, or someone who also gets nervous when they're stressed?
Right. That's the challenge. It's like a win-lose or a lose-lose or a win-win, like which way works for you. So I guess the question is, what have you experienced in relationships and what have you seen work? And also you have to know if you freak out certain times, does somebody else who doesn't freak out want to be with somebody like you? You might want to be with them to calm you down, but does somebody like that want to be with you? And is that going to be a good match for them? Some people are okay. They like the drama or they like the excitement or whatever is going on and they're there to balance you out. For the person that is higher strung and you're with somebody who's a little lower strung, then it's better for you. But I will tell you, in those types of relationships, you're going to have to be the person that draws them out in conversation because they're usually less of the conversationalist because they're a little more even-keeled and even-tempered and they're just maybe not running the conversation as much. So if you want that to calm you down in your crazy out of, control moments, then you might need to be with somebody who might need you to pick up the generic conversation and keep things moving and help to draw them out. That's just like a little personality thing.
Yeah, I was going to say know the difference between opposites and complement. Like when someone has a complementary nature versus an opposite nature, but I don't actually know if we can define that. Aleeza, how do you define the difference between someone who's opposite versus someone who's complementary?
So to me, opposite is more on, when you say opposite, we're on opposite ends of the spectrum. So I'm all the way to one side and they're all the way to the other side. Complementary is a little bit more moderate to me. I'm a little bit like this. You're a little bit like that. We're not the same, but we're not opposites. We're just different, but we're not so far apart. It's kind of like when we're doing the number line.
Right.
You're not a 1 and I'm not a 10. You're like a 3 and I'm a 6, 7. We're somewhere a little bit closer together.
Interesting.
I like that. Opposites versus complementary. We'll take note.
All right, so before I get to the last question, I just want to say a bunch of you asked a bunch of really good questions about dating during COVID-19, because we're still dealing with that even as things open up. Go to the events page. We did quite a few webinars on dating specifically, and a number of your specific questions were actually answered there, as well as questions about how to develop a relationship and how to know when it's the right time to take the next step. That was actually last week's webinar on relationship roadmap. So go check those out. This last question is off topic, and it even has an off topic disclaimer, but I'm going to do it and you'll see why at the end. Is it okay, and we did discuss this last week, but I'm going to address it anyway. Is it okay to discuss a prior shidduch with a new shidduch? For example, I was going out with someone and I asked her what a guy she dated for a year was like. What did she like about him? What didn't she like about him? So I could get to know her likes better. She wasn't so comfortable with it, but I wasn't sure why. So she said to ask you.
Okay. She's right. Don't ask her about that. Okay, sorry. First of all, you're not wrong for asking. I get why you're asking, and I know you're coming from a genuine, sincere, curious, want to get to know you, want to understand you place. But I don't believe in bringing up the past if we're just talking about dating and other people. It gets a little bit more complicated if we're talking about if you're divorced or widowed. Those are different circumstances. So just for example, if you're widowed, it's very normal for the person who lost somebody to want to have a safe space to speak about that, even with their new partner. And a couple needs to navigate that together. If you are divorced, it's a little bit complicated because that person may or may not still be in your life to a degree. If there are children or other people that are still keeping you bound together, and you have to be very careful about what you're saying. If you're just dating and you're asking about somebody else in their life previously from a relationship, I don't like it. And here's why I don't like it. Just get to know them. Just get to know their preferences. What they didn't like about that person had to specifically do with that person. What they do or don't like about you specifically has to do with you. So we have this one concept of irritants or bothers, these things that just rub us the wrong way about somebody that we don't like. And you should have those things about your partner, but you don't need to know what she didn't like about him. It's not relevant to you. It's only relevant what she does or doesn't like about you and how to build your personal relationship. If you want to ask in general, what are some of the things that she struggles with in a relationship? That's about her. Totally fine. But the actual relationship that exists, I don't really want you talking about that. I don't think that any good can come from it. I think it serves to tear a couple apart and to help them to drift apart. Even if you feel like you need more information and that's going to help you feel better, it's not going to be healthier or better for your relationship, in my experience.
What this reminds me of? It actually reminds me of a classroom where from year to year, there's a practice for teachers to pass on information about certain students. And the best teachers that I've met will say that they don't take that information because it puts this idea of what that student is like, and they walk into the classroom with these preconceived notions, and they treat that student in the way that based on the information that they were given.
So, do you know that study?
One second. No, but let me finish. One second. Now, obviously, in that case, sometimes there's something you need to know. If a child has a learning disability, it's important to know that. But know the fact, not the feeling, right? Not the feeling that the teacher is giving over, but, hey, this kid has a disability. And I think when it comes to dating, anything that's fact that you need to know will come up in research if you're the type of person that feels the need to do research. And if you're not, you'll get it through dating. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Okay, so there was a study that, to back up your point, Sarah, there was a study that was done where they presented, they did testing with all of the kids in the classroom, and they said, this is going to predict who is going to be, amazing and going to go on to do great things, right? And they told the teacher, and they literally pulled out of the pile 5 kids. They randomly selected them, and they told the teacher that this is who's going to do great and be great. And you want to know who got A's in that class and who did the best in that class and who stepped up in that class? Yep, those random people that got chosen. Why? Because the teacher made them into that star student. They knew that they believed that they had potential, and they actualized the potential that they believed existed there. So when you do this with a relationship, it's actualizing this negative potential. You're accessing information that's going to sink your relationship instead of help it to soar.
And in that case, they actually compared their previous records did not indicate that these students were on track to become who they actually became. It was really just the nurturing of the teacher. And someone just said, I'm a teacher, and I totally agree. I was just talking about this the other day, so that's awesome. All right, Aleeza, you want to tell us a little bit about what you do and JWed, and then we'll wrap this up?
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you again so much to JWed, who is our sponsor for this evening. Go on your phone and download JWed app, JWED. That's it. Super simple. JWed app is there. And instead of just chatting and schmoozing and meeting and whatever with people, there's this new option, and you don't have to give anybody your phone number or your Zoom number, nothing. You can video chat with them right there on your phone, because they just added that new feature to the app. So check it out and download JWed app today. If you would like to work with us, we would love to work with you. We have clients of all ages and stages, from 20s through 60s plus. My oldest client was 89. She is happily dating somebody so lovely. And we have had tremendous success, whether we work with you for 1 session or 1 month or 3 months or 6 months, or now I have 2 clients who signed on to work with me for a year. They said, Aleeza, I'm in, I'm making a commitment, and I want to work with you, and I want to work with your team, and I am ready. We would love to work with you. It's really easy. For anybody who has never met us before and wants to meet a coach, you can go on our site, marriagemindedmentor.com, and you can click to sign up for an intro call. It's complimentary. It's a chance for us to schmooze, for you to get to know me and me to get to know you. You can also learn about all of our amazing coaches. Leah does personality assessments. It's a 2-part session where first part she does the assessment, and second part she explains all about you and all about what you're looking for that she would believe that would be good for you based on who you are. If you want to do some pretty deep work in terms of coaching, dating, and relationships, you should sign up with Alana. Alana is fantastic at taking it to the next level. She's been experienced as a coach, as a psychotherapist, and as a matchmaker, and she's very well versed. We also have Reagan, who works with women in their 20s and 30s. So if that is you and you're looking for the coach to suit you, she has a great energy. She's good with revising your profile, getting dating going, navigating if you're in a relationship, and helping you through any of your ups and downs. And Shira, she took a leave of absence and she came back. We're so happy to have her back. She works with men and women of all ages and stages and backgrounds. And similar to Alana, she likes to help you navigate your relationship a little bit more and work through the dating and relationship process. And we also have Michael. He is the only guy on our team, and he is fantastic. He really has an intuition and an insight. He understands when you explain things to him and you're like, I need to work through this, and it's frustrating, this isn't working, or that. He has a way of helping you to figure it out and helping you navigate through the dating process. And then there's me, Aleeza. You're always welcome to work with me. I love meeting new clients. We meet by phone, we meet by Zoom, like this, as close to face as we can get. And we would absolutely love to work with you. So sign up on marriagemindedmentor.com, grab your 15-minute slot now. Schedules book up, but we do have some slots available. Who knows, I might even have some late tonight. I go all the way till midnight Eastern time, by the way. So for anybody who's like, why do you have such late night calls? And Leah's in Israel, so if you see like 2 o'clock in the morning and you're like, why does she have 2 a.m.? Because she's Israel time. And we work with clients all over the world. We've got America and Israel and Australia and Austria and London and Belgium, and I don't know, is there anybody from somewhere else? You can tell us where you're from. Canada, Mexico, South America, like all over. We've worked with people all across the world. And we would be so, so happy to work with you and to help you get over your hurdles and under the chuppah. So find us, sign up, and here we are. We're here to help you. This is what we do.
Awesome. I love it. All right.
Signing off. We'll see you next week.